Welcome! This is a quick video to guide you through the GOSOSY life skill lessons. Life skill lessons are designed to be used with teens, out-of-school youth, and adults. They consist of bilingual instructional packets that include teaching plans, an introductory lesson, guided practice, useful vocabulary, practice dialogues, and pre-post assessments. The life skill lesson non-sequential format lends itself to the limited time and intermittent attendance of the students. The lessons were all written in the basic format for easy, ready-to-use instruction. They can be used in a variety of ways, including small group instruction, one-on-one tutoring, ELL classes, home visits, and in adult education classes. The topics of life skill lessons vary from health and safety, parenting issues, legal assistance, financial responsibility, and more. Their purpose is to increase the awareness and knowledge of the particular life skill topic. All lessons are available bilingually in English and Spanish. All the lessons and their materials can be found on the GOSOSY website at osymigrant.org. To get to the lessons, click the Practitioner menu on the left-hand column. Then click Instructional Resources. You can access the life skill lessons under the heading Life Skills. Now let's take a closer look at the format of the lessons. Each life skill lesson includes a detailed lesson plan outlining the materials, instruction, and estimated time for a lesson. In the lesson plan, you will see the goals or objectives. Goals are broad, generalized statements about what is to be learned. Think of them as a target to be reached. Objectives are like tools that you will use to make sure you reach your goals. They are the arrows you shoot towards your goal. For example, in this lesson, the objective is to teach migratory and seasonal workers their rights when working in the field, and the goal is to learn more about the Workers' Protection Standard. Here's a teaching tip. Post the lesson goals and objectives in student-friendly language to remind students, and you, the purpose of the lesson. It also helps to check back on your goal at the end of the lesson to see if you've accomplished it. The lesson plans also list the necessary materials. You will want to prepare these ahead of time before the lesson. Keep in mind that you may not have all of the materials, so be flexible and get creative. The last part on the lesson plans outline the introduction, instructions for guided and independent learning, and a closing or a concept check. You will want to keep this handy while you're teaching to keep things on track. All right, step 1 of the lesson. Introduce the topic. This is the opening of your lesson where you ask students some essential questions to get them thinking about the topic and see what they may already know. See some of these examples below. Here's a teaching tip. After asking a question, give the students a few seconds to think about their answers before asking them to raise their hands or respond. This is called wait time. If teaching in a small group, you could also have them turn and talk to a partner so that they can get ideas from each other and feel confident before answering aloud. Once they feel comfortable, you can ask them to share with the group. Another teaching tip is to use a graphic organizer to help generate and map students' ideas and create a language-rich visual. You can jot down students' ideas as they share out, or ask more advanced students to create their own graphic organizers. Here's an example of a simple graphic organizer called a web. It has the essential question in the middle and students' ideas stemming from the center. This strategy helps you understand how much the students already know about the topic. It's also a great way to encourage students to speak and listen to each other. The next part of the lesson is administering the pre-assessment. The assessments all include 5 questions, written as yes, no, true, false, or multiple choice. Once the students take the test, you can review the answers together. This will help you gain an understanding of what the students already know and what you will need to focus on during your lesson. Don't forget to record how many questions the students got correct on the student assessment score sheet. Now we move on to step 2, read the text. Within every lesson, there are a couple of pages of informative text on the subject of the lesson. How you teach the information will depend on your student or students and their needs. This section will be the heart of the lesson. Every lesson includes specific vocabulary terms that the students will need to know in order to understand. You will see the vocabulary list at the top of the first page of each lesson. There are usually 5 to 7 new vocabulary words to learn. As you read through the text, look for these words to be bolded. The lesson also provides student-friendly definitions for each word. When teaching new vocabulary terms, instead of copying the definition from the lesson, it is best practice to have students reword the definition so it makes sense to them. You could also ask them to draw a picture, create an example, or write the word in their native language to help them learn. Remember, it takes multiple exposures to learn a new word or concept, so repeat, repeat, repeat. Now that you've set the purpose for reading and introduced new vocabulary words, it's time to read the passage. The way you do this depends on the reading abilities of your students. Some ideas may be reading the text aloud while students follow along silently, having students read the passage to themselves, have the students pair up and read the passage with a partner. You will want to avoid asking the students to read the passage aloud to the group unless they feel confident and comfortable in doing so. As you read the text, stop and check for understanding by asking questions about the information you just read. Remember, discussion is good because it gets the youth talking and learning simultaneously. Now on to step 3, the lesson activities. There is always a 15 to 20 minute activity provided in the lesson, although each one is unique. The activities help the student take what he or she has just read and practice and apply the knowledge. Activities that are best for language learners involve speaking, listening, reading, and writing, so be sure to incorporate these at your students' levels. Remember, you do have some flexibility and you can modify the lesson to better fit the student or students you are teaching. The last part of the lesson is the post-test. You will notice that the pre and post assessments are essentially the same, so you can reflect on what the student learned from that particular life skill lesson. The post assessments include a short answer question so students can extend their knowledge. Be sure to review the assessment and record the post-test scores. You can review the essential questions and the goals and objectives that you laid out earlier to wrap up your lesson. Did you hit all of your targets? Allow time for students to review and reflect on what they've learned. And that's it. You've successfully taught a GOSOSY life skill lesson. For additional instructional materials, please visit the GOSOSY website at osymigrant.org.